Freddy Fazbear's Pizza does not need a night guard. 4 killer robots and 1 ghost already provide paranoid security. And there's nothing to steal. The main dining area looks nice, but the halls to either side of your office are littered with cobwebs and trash. There hasn't been a paying customer at this location in years. Phone Guy knows exactly what it looks like when someone gets stuffed into an animatronic suit.
The only parts of you that would likely see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and teeth when they pop out the front of the mask.
He's overseen at least 3 generations of possessed robots. Whoever designed your office knew robots were going to attack you, and installed Star Wars quality blast doors to keep them out. Fazbear Entertainment must have a powerful source of income in order to replace the blood-soaked carpets every 90 days and remove all traces anyone died there. Yet it hires clueless strangers at minimum wage for an incredibly dangerous job, and artificially limits the power to the building. It's like Phone Guy wants you to die. The company must be receiving a resource of great value in order to risk fortune, freedom, life, and sanity in order to acquire it. But the only asset Fazbear Entertainment is earning is a pile of dead security guards. What in the literal hell is going on? I'm Blackfoot Ferret, and welcome to the pilot episode of FNAF Theory Shorts. I've been theorizing about the story of Five Nights at Freddy's for almost 2 years now, and have made many recent discoveries, some of which confirm my earlier videos, and others which change the story completely. So rather than backtrack and list what worked and what didn't, I'm going to recap the current shape of my theories in smaller, bite-sized pieces in this new series. Today's question: why is Fazbear Entertainment harvesting security guards? Short answer: their souls are being stolen. The long answer that proves this requires fitting together several pieces of the lore and the very heart of what Five Nights at Freddy's is about. Not the colorful animal costumes of the animatronics, but the mad science of the robots inside them. First, let's talk about stuffing, the unique and consistent method of the murders at Freddy's, where the victims, child and adult alike, have their bodies physically crushed inside an animatronic suit, and how this is not the method a killer would use to save time hiding the bodies. A murderous sociopath strapped for time would have many better options at a pizza place. Roast a body in an oven, toss a body in the meat grinder, throw one in the trash, borrow a Fargo wood chipper and dump the remains in the tomato sauce vat. The Punisher would enjoy the varied environmental fatality options, and Sweeney Todd would appreciate the culinary opportunities. What doesn't make sense is smashing a human body inside the intricate steel framework of an animatronic. This is far beyond the human level of physical strength, and would require the raw power of the Hulk or Star Wars garbage masher to systematically break every bone and tear every tendon in your body until the shredded pieces finally fit in an endoskeleton. And all this painstaking time and effort would simply destroy any life and sentience inside the body, and turn it into a soupy mess that would leak out of the endoskeleton onto the floor, easily detectable by even FNAF World's bumbling police. Stuffing a whole human body seamlessly into an animatronic in such a way that it would actually stay there and be recognizable as such isn't a fast, desperate gimmick. It's a massive engineering challenge that would require tons of preparation. The act itself wouldn't be possible for humans unless a tool had been specially designed for it ahead of time, which is why Fazbear Entertainment did invent a tool to do just that: the spring suits. Transforming endoskeletons that can use spring locks to push open a space inside themselves for a human to fit, and wear them like a suit. As nifty and impressive as they are, the spring suits are incredibly impractical. Even building a basic walking robot would be amazing enough in the 1980s. Building a working transformer would cost millions of $1983 and enter the realm of science fiction. It would be much simpler and safer just to make 2 identical fursuits and put one on a robot than let a human use the spare and pretend to be the robot in disguise. For that matter, why are spring locks even needed? The genius who could design a real transformer could also make one that was safe. Why make an endoskeleton whose spring locks are constantly under intense pressure and could fail at any moment and crush the person inside, when you could just make an exoskeleton from the beginning that had no spring locks and was perfectly safe? Answer: because spring lock failures were the goal of the design from the beginning. The spring suits are supposed to shift back to animatronic form while someone is still wearing them, stuffing their body inside the robot and forcing an organic human and a metal robot to become one being. And this is the key to the FNAF 1 Night 5 phone call, a reference to the singular work of philosophy from the early 1900s called The Autobiography of a Yogi. In this book, Dr. Bosie talks about his theory of the unity of all life, and demonstrates through several scientific experiments that were way ahead of their time that traits we've come to think about as animal, fatigue, depression, recovery, exaltation, and death, can not only be found in plants, but in inorganic metal as well. If you stretch this idea out, Dr. Bosie's theory means that a body made of metal could be every bit as alive as an organic one. That robots could be alive if you just had a means of giving one a soul. We see this organic metallic blend in Springtrap, the result of Purple Guy enduring a spring lock failure and being stuffed into Spring Bonnie. You can't tell where the organics end and the metallics begin because there is no boundary. The two systems have become one thanks to the crushing power of the spring locks. Now what would happen if you had a means of clearing the organic matter out of a used spring lock suit, destroying the organic component of the hybrid creature? You would end up with an isolated human soul residing in the original metallic robot. This is why Fungi tells us the missing children incident victims, who endured the multiple simultaneous spring lock failures, are being moved to an appropriate location to be looked at by our technician. The novel The Silver Eyes confirmed that Purple Guy is the technician at Freddy's, so he could clear out the bodies from the MCI victims who became the withered animatronics, but was unable to do so for himself in Springtrap. It's very significant that we receive the clue about the autobiography of a yogi and the garbled phone call right after the pre-recorded Night 4 attack on Phone Guy. Everyone thinks Phone Guy is stuffed and therefore dead, but here whatever he has become calls us the very next night with the key to putting a human soul into a robot, the very thing that just happened to him after his own stuffing. Dr. Bose's theory of living metal is the principle that inspired FNAF itself. So we now have a way to put a human soul into a robot, and not just a digital copy of a mind like you see in Soma.
I'm guessing something went way wrong.
But the actual real, 100% original human soul of the subject in question. This technology could be used for good. It might allow terminally ill humans new life in a robotic body. It would allow a pilot to temporarily extend their awareness into the robot without physically becoming crushed inside it, giving surgeons more dexterous limbs and soldiers all the Iron Man-like powers you see in science fiction and comics. An extracted soul could fit into any sort of body, allowing one person to literally become a starship like you see in the Homeworld games. Unfortunately, Fazbear Entertainment isn't interested in the good applications, and once a human soul has been extracted in such a fashion, it's much more vulnerable than before. Why kill children and stuff their bodies into animatronics? Because Fazbear Entertainment's business is based on having the most lifelike robots possible, and how could anyone beat robots who are literally alive? And pizza animatronics aren't the only robots Fazbear Entertainment has a hand in. With their partnership with Afton Robotics, FE can provide a steady supply of precious souls that AR can use to make wondrous robots for any purpose, military or otherwise, which provides the funds to continue Fazbear Entertainment's guard harvesting operation. This is the dark secret of FNAF 1. By 1993, Fazbear Entertainment has become nothing short of a Craigslist killer, luring in unsuspecting saps who are down on their luck for the promise of easy money, then locking them in a death trap from which few ever return, and no one would believe the stories of those who survived. But as terrible as this situation is, we have deeper to go, because we still have to explain what happened to Golden Freddy. 4 of the MCI victims were made into Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and received suits of their own, but the 5th victim became a ghost instead, not having a suit he could fully call his own. Golden Freddy is clearly a ghost in FNAF 2, fading out of your office and forming an impossible giant head at the end of the hall, before his disembodied head leads to your stuffing. His spectral head is also present at the bad end of FNAF 3, and is completely missing in the good ending. There never was a physical head there. More specifically, Golden Freddy is one of the first phantom animatronics, a ghost that took the approximate form of the suit it was stuffed into, just appearing very early in the game well before the others were smashed and became the phantoms of FNAF 3. Golden Freddy does not have a suit of his own because he was stuffed into the Fredbear suit, and it already belonged to someone else, an earlier victim, Shadow Freddy. With careful brightening in FNAF 3, we can see there are actually 2 yellow bear ghosts in the game. Golden Freddy, who's listed in the game simply as Phantom Freddy, and Shadow Freddy, who's actually listed by that name in the extracted files. Instead of being used to create a new, valuable robot, the soul of the 5th MCI victim, Golden Freddy, was instead placed into a suit that already contained a soul. Revisiting FNAF 2, we see Golden Freddy and Shadow Freddy again. While Golden Freddy is a ghost that appears empty, with unlit eyes and teeth, Shadow Freddy has brightly lit eyes and teeth, and never actually attacks the player in the game. What we're looking at is the actual withered Fredbear suit, but from the hidden purple color, and the unused Shadow Freddy single-frame jump scare image hidden in FNAF 2's files, it's being controlled by a very different ghost than our friend GF. So here's the question. What happens when you stuff someone into a suit that is already possessed, forcing 2 souls to coexist in a single body? FNAF gives us the answer, because the situation happens not once, but twice in the games. The same situation that happens with Fredbear, the first golden suit, also happens with Spring Bonnie, the second golden suit. And to see this, we need some backstory about Shadow Bonnie. Crying children are a common theme in FNAF. They're used to represent those who were killed and turned into animatronics, or the ghosts of those who had once undergone this process. Which makes it very strange that we see 2 tear streams on Springtrap. Isn't he the stuffed purple guy? The one everyone thinks is the killer? Why would there be tear stains in his own personal suit? But they're not an optical illusion. You can even find them on Spring Bonnie's paper plate doll. At the time of FNAF 2, Spring Bonnie is the only animatronic to wear a single button, which appears both on the Stage 01 sprite and Springtrap himself, although the game does a good job trying to hide the button from you most of the time. How can a crying child be in Spring Bonnie? Because in FNAF 4 we see a memory of Purple Guy fitting a much shorter human into that suit, then closing the door, leaving us to find the dead body later in the headless Spring Bonnie suit, while the head stares at us from the shelf.
Come on, Foxy, come on. Yeah, whatever.
Compare the ears in both these scenes to Shadow Bonnie's ears in the glitched secret minigame of FNAF 3, and you'll find the shapes match. The Purple Guy Easter egg in FNAF 4 is the origin of Shadow Bonnie. And in FNAF 3, 8-Bit Foxy sees a blue version of SB in the West Hall just before the final confrontation with Purple Guy. Shadow Bonnie is clearly in the building. Why does Springtrap visibly writhe like a man trapped in a straitjacket in the trailer to FNAF 3? And keeps saying help me or forgive me whenever he moves? Why does Springtrap play childish games with you, peeking in the door and running behind the camera panel?
Hey, what was that? I fucking saw that!
Why does a smiling Springtrap peel off his face to reveal a screaming Purple Guy? Because Purple Guy isn't the one in control of Springtrap. Shadow Bonnie is. When Purple Guy dove into the Spring Bonnie suit, it worked perfectly. The eyes lit up, and he was able to stand up in it and even laugh for a few seconds, before suddenly, all the spring locks gave out at once, leaving him with a surprised, horrified expression. The reason Phantom Bonnie doesn't appear in FNAF 3 is because he's actually the star of FNAF 3, and hides from everyone in plain sight. He even waves to you behind FNAF 1 Bonnie's dismantled torso. Shadow Bonnie is the force to control Springtrap, and he's holding his own murderer, Purple Guy, trapped inside the suit. So what happens when two souls are forced to coexist in the same body? Going by the unity of all life theory, they start to merge, and if one is hostile, they start to devour the other. Notice how Springtrap actually seems to be eating Purple Guy's head in this picture? Notice how in the early version of FNAF World, Golden Freddy, in the form of Glitch Bear, seems to break out of Fredbear, looking more like Fredbear than ever, and gives you advice about how to foil Fredbear's plans before being absorbed again?
Shadow Freddy, I will eat your soul! Oh my goodness!
And how in the 2.0 update, Glitch Bear doesn't even emerge from Fredbear at all, even though there seems to be a struggle at one point?
Oh my god, stop!
Fredbear is being controlled by the other ghost, Shadow Freddy, and Golden Freddy is struggling but very slowly being eaten, which, going by Shadow Freddy's loading screen, is the very thing that it does. Not all the souls Fazbear Entertainment harvests go into the robots. Some are chosen by the master of this place to become part of them. Fazbear Entertainment secretly steals the souls. After Robotics turns those souls into robots. What do you have when you put them together? Fear. Thanks for watching the first episode of FNAF Shorts. Many more are on the way, each one highlighting a discovery I've made about the games. I don't have all the answers, but I can show you that FNAF can be decoded, and it contains an amazing story that makes all the time and energy the community has put into this project worthwhile. Join me on this journey, and together, we'll be ready to face whatever terrors await us in the upcoming 5th game, Sister Location.